Hi, this is Carissa Caramanis O'Brien coming to you from the National EMS Culture of Safety Strategy Conference in Arlington, Virginia. I'm here with Scott Griffith from Outcome Engineering. Welcome, Scott.
Hi, Carissa.
So tell us a little bit about Just Culture. You talked about it earlier in your presentation. I'd love for you to explain it a bit.
Well, Just Culture is a concept that's now starting to evolve in a number of high-consequence industries. It's a concept that we pioneered back in the late 1980s. It involves essential elements from three disciplines: system design or engineering system design, human factor psychology, and the law. We combine these into a model of accountability, that is, how to hold people fairly and consistently accountable. The term just in the word Just Culture comes from our notions of justice, that is, what is fair in dealing with the individual.
Okay. So if we sort of apply some of those principles to EMS, what do you think is some of the critical steps that we need to take to start to create that culture of safety that we're seeking?
Well, culture of safety is a term that we often use related to high-consequence industries. And to some extent, culture of safety competes, if you will, with other values. That is, values we have around productivity or efficiency, or in healthcare in particular, we have values around privacy and compassion. But the culture of safety is something that has to be established as a foundation. It's an atmosphere that expects the organizations to develop good systems. It starts with system design, that is, providing the right tools, the right equipment, the right engineering principles to make it a safe system. But we know that no systems will ever be 100% reliable. So what we're left with is dealing with fallible human beings. That is, each one of us in our daily lives is going to be fallible. We'll make mistakes, and occasionally we will make reckless choices. That is, choices that unjustifiably put other people in harm's way. But the vast majority of attention in a just culture is around what we decide, or what we describe as at-risk behavior. It's that notion that each one of us will at times take risk that we think we're taking safely. That is, a risk to not follow a procedure, or driving, talking on a cell phone, or even sending a text message. People do this oftentimes thinking they're in a safe place. It's what we define as taking a risk where risk is not justified, but we believe it to be acceptable.
So how do we start to shift the behaviors to be more cognizant of safety as a priority?
Well, it starts with understanding how you're going to get the best response from a human being. And oftentimes, in the past, organizations have relied on rule compliance. That is, they describe it as a rule-based approach to enforcement. The difficulty in that approach is that we all know what to do when our boss or an enforcer is looking over our shoulder. Most of us slow down when we see a police car parked on the side of the road. But then what do we do when we get around the corner and the police car is out of sight? Well, we may be speeding back up to where we feel comfortable. But rather than take a rule-based approach to managing risk, what we're encouraging organizations to do is to understand what motivates a human being. We will be motivated when we believe that our behavior will cause an adverse outcome. If it's a certain or an immediate response to our risk-taking behavior, most of us will back away from it. On the other hand, if it's a far away or a distant result, we tend to ignore it. Thinking about driving a car and talking on a cell phone, most of us in society have done that. In fact, many of us still do it today. If you tell someone that doing so will likely cause an accident, it may have some impact, but if they go out and drive talking on a cell phone and they don't have an accident, they've just learned the lesson that it won't happen to them. In fact, that's what we see time and time again. Good people, professionals, cutting corners, engaging in risky behavior, and having positive outcomes. When we have the positive outcome, the lesson we learn may be the wrong lesson.
Exactly. So what do you think is some of the critical steps that folks will take coming out of the rooms that they're meeting in the next day and a half or so?
Well, I'm very impressed and very hopeful that the EMS industry is bringing together the right organizations, the right people. Because it does, if you're going to establish a different cultural change within an industry, getting the right stakeholders together is crucial. I understand that the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration is a sponsor, that we're working with ACEP as a lead organization to provide their professional expertise. We're working with a number of EMS providers across the country. Bringing those stakeholders together for a common purpose is absolutely the right way. We think that having the regulator involved in these discussions is very important to the effort, because oftentimes the regulator plays a role that will help establish what that culture of safety really is. In fact, regulators can have the most powerful influence on that culture in an organization.
Very good. Well, thank you for your insights. We appreciate it.
It's my pleasure. Thank you, Carissa.
And again, this is Carissa Caramanis O'Brien coming to you from the National EMS Culture of Safety Conference in Arlington, Virginia.